Although he has only been in office for a few months, Keir Starmer has consistently made decisions that devastate people's lives, and just recently, he made yet another shocking move, threatening to plunge the UK into a full-blown crisis. Starmer is shaping up to be the most authoritarian Prime Minister in British history. Let's delve into his latest actions and catch up on the hottest news from across the country. But first, don't forget to hit like and follow the channel. Now, let's dive into the unexpected actions Keir Starmer has taken on the burning issues of border security and the illegal migration crisis in the United Kingdom. As the situation grows increasingly complex and tensions escalate, the responses from the new Prime Minister and the Home Office only highlight a glaring lack of leadership skills. Despite making bold promises to resolve the crisis, the reality is that leaders have shown hesitation and indecisiveness, causing the public to lose more and more trust. Public services are now severely overwhelmed. Even legal migrants are subject to lengthy waiting times due to chaotic and ineffective management systems. The British public feels not only disappointed but betrayed by the hollow promises of their leaders. Promises without real action have only intensified anger within communities. Let's take a closer look at the actions, or rather, the lack of action, from the Home Office in the current context. The new Home Secretary, Yvette Cooper, made a strong campaign pledge to produce a concrete plan within 100 days to tackle migration issues. Yet, so far there's no sign of progress. Rather than providing clear solutions, the Home Office has shifted focus to targeting migration gangs and human traffickers, an initiative that has repeatedly failed in execution. This clearly reflects the government's weak migration management strategy. Take, for example, the current backlog of asylum applications, a serious issue that has persisted for years without resolution. Today, an asylum application can take several years to process, whereas about 2 decades ago, it took just around 6 months. With migration complexities on the rise and no signs of slowing down, the government has decided to speed up the processing of cases from countries with high migration rates, such as Afghanistan, Syria, and Iran. In reality, the approval rate for asylum applications from Afghan nationals is around 96%. For Syria and Sudan, the rate is even higher, reaching nearly absolute levels at 99%. For Iran, the acceptance rate stands at 86%. With such high approval rates and the lack of cooperation from some governments in background checks, the current asylum system has created opportunities for economic migrants to exploit asylum procedures, making it easy to bypass regulations. This situation mirrors what happened in the United States in 2016, when the government had to adopt strict measures with countries that failed to cooperate in vetting information. In the UK, this issue has become even more serious as the majority of asylum applications from high migration countries are approved. With limited resources and an ever-growing backlog, the current policy has effectively turned into an open invitation for anyone seeking asylum. The inefficient management system has turned migration issues into a real nightmare for the country. So, what will be the consequences for illegal migrants and those stuck in a prolonged processing system for years? Not only are asylum applications delayed, but illegal border crossings, particularly by small boats from France, have also become a crisis, with the number of arrivals hitting record highs each year. Despite official promises, it's clear that no one is ready to tackle the root of the problem. Border control remains too lax and ineffective, while the backlog of applications keeps growing and public resources are being wasted. Looking to the future, the question is whether major political parties are genuinely interested in addressing migration and border security. Judging by the current reality, there's very little evidence that mainstream parties like Labour or the Conservatives have a practical and effective action plan. They seem to offer only empty promises without any concrete measures. In this context, the UK needs clear and enforceable policies more than ever to ensure a lawful, safe migration system that suits the nation's current needs. The lack of strategy from Starmer and other politicians only underscores the weakness and indifference toward migration issues that are causing public outrage. Turning to another prominent development, children aged 4 to 5 in some Scottish schools are currently being encouraged to use gender-neutral pronouns like they and them rather than traditional gender-specific ones. At the same time, recent statistics reveal that the title MX, a gender-neutral option, has become increasingly popular, replacing familiar titles like Mr., Mrs., Miss or Miss. Notably, at least 86 teachers, teaching assistants and classroom aides in Scotland now use this title when interacting with students. These educators identify as non-binary or choose not to specify as male or female, regardless of their biological sex. This shift has ignited lively debate within society, particularly concerning the introduction of complex gender concepts into early school environments, causing concern and frustration among many parents and advocacy groups. Statistics show that of those using the title MX, 13 are primary school teachers, while the remaining 73 work in secondary schools. Edinburgh is noted for having the highest rate of gender-neutral title usage, with 44 staff members adopting MX. However, the actual numbers may be higher, as some local councils have yet to collect data on the use of these neutral titles. Interestingly, the figures include not only teachers, but also teaching aides and assistants who also choose the MX designation. This shift has prompted a strong backlash. Ross McCall, the Scottish Conservative Party spokesperson on issues concerning children and young people, told the Daily Mail that such topics merely distract teachers and schools from their primary mission of delivering the best education for students. McCall argued that introducing complex gender concepts into the curriculum brings no real benefit to children's development. Marion Calder, representing for Women Scotland, voiced concerns over the negative impact of introducing controversial ideologies into the classroom. Calder condemned the presentation of non-binary gender concepts by teachers without a clear scientific basis, likening it to teaching astrology in schools. Calder bluntly questioned, how can young children trust what teachers say when even a fundamental concept like gender is being distorted? She also expressed worry that this could lead to disciplinary issues if parents or students challenge the use of the title MX. Another parent shared her experience when receiving her child's achievement certificate, signed by a teacher using the title MX. When she raised the issue with the head teacher, she was met with a strong response. She recounted that when the head teacher asked why she opposed MX, she replied that this was not only a misrepresentation, but also an imposition of a dangerous ideology on children without any discussion or consent from parents. She emphasised that teachers should focus on educating rather than promoting scientifically unsupported gender views to young students. Meanwhile, Parent Watch Scotland, an education watchdog, warned that using titles like MX may confuse and disturb primary-age children, making it difficult for them to understand gender distinctions. This comes as Scotland recently decided to halt the prescription of puberty blockers following an in-depth review by the UK's Gender Service, CAS. The CAS report highlighted that many children and adolescents had not received adequate medical care due to a lack of essential scientific studies. These findings have raised concerns about how the educational and healthcare systems are handling gender issues, questioning the safety and appropriateness of introducing gender-neutral titles into young children's education. Reactions from parents, advocacy groups and politicians have underscored worries about whether the current education system is overreaching by implementing these shifts in gender awareness at nursery and primary school levels. The question remains, do these adjustments genuinely benefit children, or do they simply add confusion with complex and controversial social concepts in today's society?